So students, today in this module we are going to cover the topic oogenesis. So let's begin with. The oogenesis is a process of the formation of the ovum in the human females, and it is a process by which the female gamete is been produced and been matured. So let's begin with the process. So in human females, the process of oogenesis starts even before the birth of the girl child. That is when the girl child is in the womb of the mother. So how the process takes place? Now when during the embryonic development in the ovary of the girl embryo, the mother cells are present. We call them as oogonia. So many millions of the oogonia are present in the ovaries of the fetal girl. Now these oogonia undergo mitosis and they start differentiation and they form the primary oocyte. So many primary oocytes are formed in the fetal life of a human female when the girl is in the womb of the mother. These primary oocytes are having 46 chromosomes per cell, and these primary oocytes get modified into primary follicle. What is primary follicle? See to the diagram. When the primary oocyte is been formed, the primary oocyte get covered with a layer of the granulosa cells and it is forming a primary follicle. This is how the primary follicle looks like. After the primary follicle formation, what happen is the girl, as it is born, means when a girl child is born, in the ovaries of the girl child there are present many primary follicles. Okay, these primary follicles are arrested to one stage of the prophase 1, fine, and they are in that particular stage, not moving further in any other stages, so they are arrested at that particular stage. So when a girl child is born, there are present many primary follicles in the ovary of the girl child. Now as the girl matures, it moves from the birth to the childhood and then to the puberty. Okay, during this phase from the birth to the puberty, many of the primary follicles degenerate. So on reaching the stage of the puberty, there are present around 60,000 to 80,000 of the primary follicles in the each ovary of the girl. So when the girl is born, there are present many primary follicles, but as the girl from the birth it reached to the puberty, in those couple of years many of the primary follicles degenerate, and at the stage of the puberty there are present only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles in each ovary. Now what happened during this stage is the primary follicles get converted into secondary follicles. This is secondary follicle, and the secondary follicle will form the tertiary follicle. The tertiary follicles are having structure like this. They are covered with the layer of the granulosa, and inside they are having a fluid filled cavity which is known as the antrum. The fluid filled cavity antrum, around that there is a layer of granulosa cells. This is called the tertiary follicle. This tertiary follicle get converted into the Graafian follicle. The tertiary follicle get transformed into the Graafian follicle. The Graafian follicle is a large follicle which is having a good amount of the antrum, okay, and thick granulosa layer. It is during this stage of the tertiary follicle that the first meiotic division happens. See to the diagram. The first meiotic division is completed prior to the ovulation, and the primary oocyte will form the first polar body and the secondary oocyte by this first meiotic division. And after this division, the secondary oocyte will be having 23 chromosomes. This is an unequal division which leads to the formation of the bigger secondary oocyte and a very small polar body. The secondary oocyte will be having 23 chromosomes. This secondary oocyte will divide and form the second polar body and the ovum. With the production of the ovum, the Graafian follicle will rupture and it will release the ovum, and this release of the ovum by the Graafian follicle is known as the ovulation. So the rupture of the Graafian follicle will cause the release of the ovum from the ovary, and this process of the removal of the ovum or the release of the ovum from the Graafian follicle, that is known as the ovulation. After the ovulation, the ovum will be released out from the ovary and the remaining part of the Graafian follicle will form the corpus luteum. That's all about the topic. Thank you.